All right, today we're talking about how our nighttime can impact our morning cortisol and our entire adrenal rhythm. And we often talk about how cortisol in the morning, what can we do? Morning light, morning protein, morning routines, this and that, which are all super high value. I just talked about a few of them in a past video. But what is even more valuable is what happens in our evening hours. We can sow seeds for a great cortisol rhythm the following day. We can literally break or build up our cortisol rhythm with how we spend our evening hours. So from stress, those intensive nighttime conversations, screen, scrolling, the blue light, food input, alcohol consumption, there is a lot of ground to be made in the evening times that I think we are tossing aside, just trying to rev up our mornings when we wake up in the morning. So as we have discussed, ideally, cortisol will be really low at night. And this is because a low cortisol is what permits and promotes a rise in melatonin. Melatonin is then going to send out the signals that promote hormone and neurochemical balance that lead to that deep, regenerative, refreshing sleep. Everything's been recalibrated, reset. This is going to be a fantastic day kind of feeling in the morning. So when cortisol stays elevated at night, this active brain never fully shuts down, which means the regenerative cascade never goes into motion. So we end up bringing yesterday, last week, maybe even last year's open file cabinets, open files into today. There's nothing fun about that, right? Just stacking up on the table. Unfortunately, we could have even 8 hours of sleep, be in bed for 8 hours, and get all of 10 minutes of bodily reset. So a few common signs you're dealing with this elevated cortisol state, evening cortisol state, would be things like you feel that I'm really wired, but I'm also really tired. I lay down, my mind starts racing. I feel like around 8 or 9 o'clock at night, I just got that second win, let's go, solve the problems of the world, or just difficulty falling asleep as a whole. And waking, especially around 2 to 3 a.m. in the morning, feeling like, man, I just got a snack and I'm just hungry. I need something to snack on. Many people would say, hey, it's just how I am, just my personality. That's how I roll. But I would suggest it's very unlikely. These are probably more likely habits and a response to elevated cortisol levels. So it's bedtime and we're scrolling on Instagram. Unfortunately, the combination of blue light hitting our retinas, the unpredictable rewards coming with each swipe is sending our brain into a frenzy. We're suppressing melatonin and we're elevating the alertness hormones, which would include cortisol. We're trying to go to bed, right? So we would not want to turn on the alertness hormones, right? So simply doing the swap of reading a book with an amber light that literally could completely change the landscape of the industrialized world, of humanity, if we were to make that swap. Bright light between 10 p.m. and about 2 a.m. is one of the most potent, if not the most potent, cortisol rhythm disruptors we are aware of. Maybe something else will come out, but you start stacking these on top of each other, doom scrolling, man, perfect storm for cortisol being out of control. And you can take all the great cortisol supplements, eat these beautiful diets, but if we find ourselves scrolling at night, we're overriding all of it. We're suggesting to our brain that, you know what, Matt, it's actually high noon. Let's get after today instead of let's go to sleep. So next, let's talk about physical stressors versus psychological stressors. This one can be tough sometimes because we're rolling through the day, busy, going, life is full, and then all of a sudden, life goes quiet. It's nighttime. There's people around. Buzz is going off. Our brain starts replaying the arguments, the misunderstandings, what we didn't get done, the emails we got to get to, we still got to send out, those Christmas cards. The problem with this psychological stress, this psych stress, is that our cortisol circuitry, it doesn't distinguish between physical stress and the mental anguish, the emotional stress. So we're literally laying in bed with this rumination going on, and our body, our cortisol rhythm, cortisol circuitry is suggesting that we just finished a high octane CrossFit workout. That's what it looks like. And you're not going to fall asleep right after that. So the first thing I would do is get a pen and paper and start dumping the I need to remember list onto it each night. Plan tomorrow before you go to bed. In your kitchen, plan it out. Have a strict cutoff time for emails, for Messenger. Drop the doom scrolling. Nothing relieves emotional stress like cutting out the scrolling. If you want to be agitated, depressed, have anxiety, feel like you never are eating the right thing, feel like you're never parenting correctly, I feel like you're just never fashionable, you're never doing enough, then keep scrolling. But for the rest of us, let's accumulate some health and let's drop the scrolling. Okay, sorry about that, but okay, with another thing to consider, there's a problem, let's get to solutions. Number one would be light hygiene. This is our top priority when it comes to sleep hygiene. We got to have light hygiene. So I would aim for warm lighting in the evening. If you can, get a few lamps, maybe especially in your bedroom, instead of overhead lighting. And when it comes to the phones, the iPads, the laptops, they literally are the worst. At a minimum, use the dark screen mode to help yourself out. And you don't need literal pitch darkness. It's never literally pitch dark out. But you do need a signal that, hey, it was really bright before, and now it's getting darker. To let the hormones and neurochemicals know that, hey, it's about to be bedtime, it's about time to fall asleep. Secondly, if the wired brain is just going, is your big challenge, then let's do a little nervous system reset. Let's get a little nervous system downshift. And this would look like, say, going for a walk after dinner, maybe doing some gentle stretching, chatting about the best things in life, having that attitude of gratitude and speaking about them, taking some time to just pray, make your morning to-do list tomorrow, do some journaling. These aren't just to support mental health. They literally are going to lower your cortisol. They're cortisol lowering tools. All right, the third one I really want to chat about is your dinner. This is one of the strongest signals your body gets that the day is over, the day is ending. I would not create a law around how I'm going to suggest eating dinner. In fact, this isn't rocket science at all. But the following would be high value. If you're feeling like cortisol, a lot of the symptoms I'm seeing is going to the moon, going up at the wrong time for you, in the evening specifically. So our dinner goal is lower cortisol, stabilize blood sugar, and allow melatonin to rise. So we're going to start out, not shocking, but we're going to start with some protein between, I would say, 20 and 40 grams, depending on your overall body composition and the size of you as a human. And protein prevents that nighttime blood sugar drop that forces cortisol to go up to tell the liver, hey, we need support here. Decrease the likelihood of you having that adrenaline spike at 2 or 3 in the morning. Secondly, we got to eat the carbohydrates, folks. Yes, I know, shocking, but carbohydrates like potatoes or rice or squash, fruit, whole pieces of fruit, that is, have a lot of value when it comes to shuttling, or extreme value when it comes to shuttling tryptophan into the brain to make serotonin, which then leads to the creation of melatonin. And too low carbohydrate dinners is one of the biggest causes of that nighttime waking up. Get the protein going, but it's just protein. You gotta have some carbohydrates. I've seen this time and time again where a patient will be on a ketogenic diet or a carnivore food routine, getting great benefit, feeling awesome, and then all of a sudden, bam, they can't stay asleep. It's probably the carbohydrates, need a little bit more. All right, so a meal that would just be awesome, I think, would be like steak or salmon, potatoes, yams, rice, pumpkin, buckwheat, cooked vegetables. Fantastic. Man, talk about cortisol benefiting. And feel free to add in some salt, because sodium is a great fuel for the adrenal glands. On the flip side, we would want to avoid, also shocking, but skipping dinner, alcohol, ultra processed foods, and eating right before bed. We really want to give ourselves at least 2 to 3 hours before we go to sleep, before we wanting to go to sleep, to have the food move from our stomach into our small intestine there. And we want to satisfy and satiate with our dinner. If we can get cortisol to drop at night, the body will be triggered to have it rise in the morning, and life will get really good for us. So try to think of your eating habits as what could set you up or be a seed for an energized, refreshed tomorrow. I understand that we don't live in an age where thinking ahead is valued. It's all about, what's the momentary pleasure, the momentary thing at the cost of tomorrow. But like usual, we're going to go different because we're health accumulators, right? Because we want different results, different outcomes when it comes to the state of our health and what we get to live in on a daily basis. So being different than the masses, nothing wrong with that. Getting a great night's sleep, man, what a blessing. So if you haven't already subscribed, man, today is your day. And please share this with somebody. All kinds of people, friends, family members, who just are unaware that, their habits, their routines are getting in the way of their ability to have optimal body composition, of their ability to manage stress and manage anxiety, manage depression, and enjoy a great night's sleep. All right, talk to you guys and gals later.